Good morning. Good morning. We're so happy you are here. My name is Kim Diana Connolly. A lot of you actually know me as Simon and Tate's mama, and that's good too. I use she, they pronouns, and I offer that to be inclusive and to give you ideas that we can be inclusive and making sure that we are using people's preferred pronouns as we go forward in our day. I am so excited to have this person up here. Reverend Soto has been a good friend for many years, and it is a blessing that they are here with us today. I think you are going to learn so much, so I'm not going to take up much time to just say all the wonderful things that I would love to say about them. But I will say we are so glad that each one of you is here today, every single one of you. If you're a newcomer, please consider coming back and making this place your place. For those who've already made UU Amherst your spiritual home, we hope you will continue to challenge yourself, to grow and discover new opportunities to learn and serve. Everything of our time has been carefully crafted to create a cohesive experience. So I invite you to take a breath and relax and be fully present to what unfolds around and within you. You are safe here. You are among friends. Whoever you are, wherever you come from, whomever you love, you are welcome here.
Merry meet. It's Magic Sunday. I can do what I want. How many opportunities really do I have for that? So, see you next year. So I like to use the greeting of Merry Meet. It's a pagan greeting. It's actually part of a benediction as well, a blessing. But at this time of year especially, in this liminal space, as the darkness keeps creeping forward, the leaves are falling, it just feels particularly yummy to offer that greeting. And so I will offer it, and I would love if you would, with great gusto, offer it back. Merry meet.
Merry meet.
There we go, lovely. It's kind of like, wow, you're here, or I'm so glad to see you. I'm Reverend Michelle Buheit, the minister of this congregation. My pronouns, which I offer to create a truly inclusive and brave space for all to live into the fullness of their identities, are she and her. If you're new to UU Amherst, I invite you to think about what it means to create and be part of a brave space. It's different from safe space. Maybe it's older sibling or taller sibling. I don't know. I'll let you imagine what safe space and brave space, how they relate to one another, because they're all important. Today we are honored to have the Reverend Julian Jamaica Soto offering words of reflection. Reverend Soto has been here for the weekend as UU Amherst hosted the annual meeting of the New York State Convention of Universalists yesterday, which was awesome. Thank you to all the volunteers who made that just a really great experience. Our guests had a wonderful time. So it's been a very full weekend, and we are very filled with gratitude. Our gathering this music is a sweet song, If I Needed You. So our musicians this morning are Kathy Moriarity and Steve Bjella. Yay! And it really is Magic Sunday, because as soon as they walked in together, things were happening. And so this is going to be super fun for you. All right, now you can introduce.
If I needed you, would you come to me? Did you come to me and ease my pain? If you needed me, I would come to you. I would swim the seas far to ease your pain. In the night forlorn or the morning
Thank you. Thank you for the music. As we gather, we employ the elements of water and fire to create the sacred space where we can be fully present. We begin with an acknowledgement that our church is built on holy ground, land that was nurtured and cultivated by those who occupied it before us. We offer, with Chris's help, this libation as our giveaway, as we honor the struggle of all people seeking justice and peace. We seek the courage and wisdom to heal the wounds of the past and build a better future story with all our neighbors and fellow creatures together. Now that we've acknowledged this land does not belong to us, we belong to this land. It is our custom when we gather to light a chalice. A chalice is the cup or vessel that symbolizes gathered community. The flame represents the spark that each one of us brings to represent the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of our commitment to bring more compassion and justice to the world. So please join me in our chalice lighting words that are up here. We gather this hour as people of faith, with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of the life we share together.
It is our custom when we gather to acknowledge that this is sacred space, made sacred by our presence together and by the presence of love. And into this sacred space, we can bring our whole selves, all the complicated feelings, the experiences, all those things. When you took a deep breath earlier, maybe one or two fell off your shoulders, but there might still be something there. You can bring that here. We can hold that together. So I invite you to come forward as the music plays and to place a stone or a shell on the table labyrinth in honor and recognition of all that you bring with you today. Come forward as you will. I place the final stone in recognition of those joys, concerns, and sorrows held by our wider community who are joining us online. You are part of this circle of love. So let's just share a couple of breaths as we expand our circle to include those who may not be present, but whose presence we feel. We bring into our circle of love and care those who are ill, those who are in pain, either in body or spirit, those who are lonely, those who are overwhelmed or feeling lost, and those who have been wronged. We are part of a web of life that makes us one with all humanity, one with all the universe. We are grateful for the miracle of consciousness that we share, the consciousness that gives us the power to remember, to love, and to care. May it ever be so in our lives. Amen, and blessed be.
There is no shame. There is no sorrow. There is no pain. There's no tomorrow. There's only the shovel and the mountain before you. Your choice is to dig or surrender like those before you. There's no sense, no belief, no reason, and there's no relief. There's only this shovel and a mountain before you. Your choice is to dig or surrender like those before you. I see an open sky, and I will always bring love. I feel the light inside the voice. I see an open sky. There is no limit. Body bends to the will. Maybe no sense. And yet still there's only our shovel and our mountain before us. Our choice is to dig or surrender like those before us.
Thank you, Kathy. Wow. Our time for all ages is, well, it's a video, and it's about 5 smooth stones. How many of you have heard the phrase 5 smooth stones? Excellent. You're going to do very well on the quiz. And once we have had this time for all ages, if kids want to come closer to be able to see better, that's fine. Or if they're happy, I'm happy. Whatever is good. And Reverend Soto has created this video for us. So
5 smooth stones. James Luther Adams and 5 things we hold on to. Hi, I'm Julian. This is my dog Kuma.
I'm excited to tell you today about James Luther Adams, a Unitarian Universalist minister and professor. In the book of Samuel, there's a story about a boy with a slingshot. His name was David, and he found out that his family and friends were having a problem with a professional soldier named Goliath. So he thought, well, I will try to deal with the enemy, and he put 5 smooth stones in his pocket. The story goes on to say that he beat the giant with 1 stone. But even though we still don't fight, we think of the stones as a reminder to be ready, and the stones themselves as reminders of how we can do right and help one another. James Luther Adams taught that even though we shouldn't be fighting people, we should be fighting bad ideas and bad attitudes in our own hearts. The first one was ignorance, or saying no to learning. The second one is individualism, saying no to teamwork. Third, selfishness, saying no to sharing. Fourth, apathy, saying no to caring. And fifth, cynicism, saying no to hope. Reverend Naomi King offers James Luther Adams' ideas in short statements we can remember. The first is, we are always learning. The second smooth stone is, being together matters. Stone 3 is, how we are together matters. The fourth stone is that we do good to be good and feel good. One more time. We do good to be good and feel good. Stone number 5, we always hope. That is, we always stick together and do our best to help each other and stay curious about what comes next. There they are, James Luther Adams' 5 smooth stones. We're always learning. Being together matters. How we are together matters. We do good to be good and feel good. And we always hope.
Which one are you going to check out this week?
I think I'm going to hang on to the fifth smooth stone for this week, being the week before something happens in our world. So hope, let that be our smooth stone moving in. So now the children get to go to their activities, so let's sing them out. Go in love, our hearts go with you. Go in joy, our hopes go too. Learn in love and grow in wisdom. Shine your light in all you do. And now, Steve, if you'll offer a musical meditation. Wow.
And now we have words by Reverend Soto that Michelle and I will read together. In this community, we hold hope close. We don't always know what comes next, but that cannot dissuade us.
We don't always know just what to do, but that will not mean that we are lost in the wilderness. We rely on the certainty beneath, the foundation of our values and ethics.
We are the people who return to love like a North Star and to the truth that we are greater together than when we are alone.
Our hope does not live in some glimmer of an indistinct future.
Rather, we know the way to the world of which we dream.
And by covenant and the movement forward of one right action and the next, we know that one day we will arrive at home. And now it is with great pleasure that we extend a UU Amherst warm welcome to Reverend Soto.
So, good morning. Good morning. Thank you so much for having me. Let's begin by noticing your neighbor. You can give them a little hello if you haven't yet. Feel your chair holding you up, your seat. Relax your shoulders. Relax your face. Think about where your wings would attach if you had them. Relax your wings. And in just a moment, we'll begin. You can join me in prayer and meditation as you wish. Our friend, let me not lose that. Our friend, we're thankful to be together today. We're thankful for all the beauty and effort that has gone into creating this sacred space. And as we think and stretch and believe and feel, I pray for a great blessing on this community. Amen. So, Vera Nazarian is a Russian novelist, and she says, well, she's Russian American. She writes science fiction. She suggests that if you are faced with a mountain, you have several options. You can climb it and cross to the other side. You can go around it. You can dig under it. You can fly over it, assuming you have the correct equipment. You can blow it up. You can ignore it and pretend it's not there. You can turn around and go back the way you came. Or you can stay on the mountain and make it your home. Nazarian may be partly right. Each year, about 1,000 people attempt to climb Mount Everest. About 500 people reach the top, counting guides, daring climbers, and other experts. This is in spite of it costing $30,000 to climb Earth's highest mountain. It's 8,848 meters above sea level. Today, let's talk about a different mountain. It's not famous. It doesn't have a name, really. Some people call it a hill. It was in the Galore region of India and separated villages from schools, fields, and even medical care. Faguni Devi, one day, set out to take her husband some lunch, on the other side of this rough terrain. Unfortunately, she slipped and fell. She might have survived if she could have had medical care in a hurry. However, going around the mountain made the entire journey 40 miles long. Falguni died from her injuries. Her husband, Dashrat Manji, was understandably broken-hearted. He resolved to do something about this mountain. So, he sold 3 of his goats. Here's Dashrat. On the right, when he was preparing to do something about this mountain. The first thing that Falguni and Dashrat teach us is that healing is not linear. How are 3 goats going to conquer a mountain? The answer isn't immediately apparent. Sometimes, as we did earlier, we talk about breathing, focusing on your breath. When you're in need of healing, the first step is your next breath. Breathing counts. Waiting counts. Being open to healing counts. And as it turns out, selling 3 goats is the first step to conquering a mountain. This is because the next step Dashrat took was to buy a hammer and chisel. You follow now, right? Sometimes you're struggling in the middle of hard times and nothing seems especially clear. And then it does. The problem is that life often unfolds this way. You don't get the lesson before you can use it. Falguni had brought her husband food dozens of times, but this time she fell and was injured. This time the pot broke. And this time Dashrat thought about that hill, about how many pots had broken against it through the years, about how many people had been injured, just trying to do the ordinary business of life. And this time he was inspired. You will occasionally hear people say that everything happens for a reason. I understand that for some people, this can be comforting. At the same time, when I look at heartache or cruelty in the world, it seems to me more likely that some things happen for no reason at all. I do not think it would make sense to say that Laguni died in order for Dashrat to carve a road. Rather, we can learn from him that one option in the face of struggle or grief is to open up a space in which anything is possible. Do you remember the show Let's Make a Deal? The host, Monty Hall, would offer prizes, but they were concealed behind curtain number 1 and curtain number 2, for example. The worst prize I ever saw was a set of 7 32-gallon garbage cans, each labeled for a different day of the week. When we talk about possibilities, I'm not exactly talking about those kinds of maybes. Like maybe you could do one thing that was all right, or another that would be a dud. In her book, Small Wonder, Barbara Kingsolver puts it this way. In the long run, I find it hardest to bear those who couldn't care less, who won't or can't fathom the honest depths of love and grief, who opt out of the bull ride through life in favor of the sleeping birth. These are the ones who say it is ridiculous to imagine that the world could be made better than it is. The more sophisticated approach they suggest is to accept that we're all on a jolly road trip down the maw of catastrophe. So shut up and drive. I fight that. I fight it as if I were drowning. When I come down to this feeling that I am an army of one, standing on the broad plain, waving my little flag of hope, I call up a friend or two and offer to make dinner for us. We're the theater of the street, the accurate joy of children's hearts. The literature of tomorrow's wisdom arrived today, just in time. In the long run, the choice of life over death is too good to resist. Thankfully, you don't have to be part of an army of one. Part of the nourishment available to your heart is a place, a people, and a purpose in this sacred, intentional community. When this world seems full of meanness, this community exists as a source of grace. It's not perfect, I'm not saying that. But this is a place where grace is possible. When we speak of grace, two important examples come to mind. The graceful movement of a ballet dancer, that is ease and elegance, and gracious hospitality, or the focus of making an experience of the guest as smooth and comfortable as possible. What they have in common is the idea that we can let go of striving. In its place, we can practice as a group, creating the kind of atmosphere in which people experience generous compassion and ease, along with the smooth beauty of moving together, the way a V of geese or a school of fish would. Together, connected. Sometimes, what the world calls your heart to do, the thing that you are meant to do, isn't popular. People around you might not think it's a good idea. This doesn't mean you're meant to stop. Sometimes you have to just go on ahead. Nowadays, people call Dashrat Manji the jewel of India, and sometimes even the jewel of the world. But when he was digging a road through a mountain, people told him he had no sense. They told him he was foolish. The new path Dashrat built was 360 feet long, 25 feet high, and 30 feet wide. The path reduced the distance to the nearest community from 40 miles to only 10. What Dashrat was not foolish. He was committed. He was undaunted. Dashrat wasn't actually meant to stop, to give up on his dream, or to ignore his soul's imagination. The thing is, when you're journeying toward the fulfillment of a dream, it's hard to tell how close you are until your dream is coming true. This unknown quantity, how close we are to success, is often something used to try to get people to suspend disbelief. Do you remember the Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes? In big red letters, the envelope often said, "You may have already won." You already know stories about people who struggle and labor over long periods of time, dealing with harsh detractors and imagining new and complex futures. One of them is in the Hebrew scripture. Noah, who according to the story could have taken as long as 100 years to build the ark. But what does that even mean? Remember that the Hebrew scripture is a book of stories and traditions more than history. The story could indeed reveal something about humanity's relationship to spirituality, rather than being a captain's log of the journey of the ship. Even the word ark doesn't mean boat. It means box or container. What did the ark contain? It was certainly a time of waiting and a new beginning. All the animals, all the people, and to be honest, all of the constraint. Sometimes our inner lives are like that. There is something that continues to unfold, but there were phases of the unfolding. A phase of preparation, a phase of building. In Noah's case, of hammering nail after nail, of preparing countless boards, of letting scores of insults go in one ear and out the other. But once the box was built, Noah didn't immediately embark on a sunny pleasure cruise. Instead, there were 40 days and 40 nights of rain. I want you to think about the science of weather for a minute. Have you ever got sopping wet in the rain only to look at the weather report and find out that the report says sunny and 80 degrees? Have you ever waited for rain that never came? This rain time represents a time of peak uncertainty. Do you want to know how I relate to it? That tiny nagging wondering about whether the rain will stop by the time I have to leave the building to go to the car. And that's an easy one to think about. But sometimes the uncertainty, as when there is an upcoming election, is much greater than that. Remember, in phases of preparation and waiting, in times of uncertainty, you are not alone. It is hard to identify in the story of Laguni and Dashrat exactly when his phase of preparation occurred. But at a difficult time, a time when there could have been no more answers to his most urgent questions, Dashrat let his heart open and move him forward into a time of making his dream a reality. He had to know that the road would not bring Laguni back, but a different future was irresistible to Dashrat. A future in which others wouldn't suffer the loss that he did. In that same future, young people would have more access to school and job training. As he intended with his project, Dashrat uplifted his parents, his village, and even the entire region through safer access to other villages for much needed goods, services, including schools and hospitals. Dashrat teaches us that living into new futures requires arriving in the future with our moral imagination and working our way backward. Dashrat was willing to imagine the future and imagine that he'd already conquered the mountain and work his way back from it. He went ahead and made carving the mountain a job. To make a living, Dashrat plowed other people's fields from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Dashrat hammered on the mountain from 4 in the morning to 8 in the morning. Then he would go back and hammer some more from 1 in the afternoon until the evening fell. His road had already become a possibility. He simply had to do the things that would make that happen. Very often you may find yourself in a position in which anything could happen. It's your perspective on the future that will determine what actually comes to pass. Some people thought that Dashrat would die working on the road, but he lived to complete it. He actually lived long enough for his work to be appreciated. And while Dashrat died, it is very clear that his impressive contribution exists as more than an example of public works. The road keeps the spirit of Dashrat alive. Generosity, courage, and determination. There was one other thing. Dashrat would never have been able to do what he did if he carried the entire enormity of the task with him all the time. He had to, at times, let the weight of the mountain and of his burning intention to prevent suffering slide off his back and shoulders. when he could pick it up again another time. He had to count the usefulness of each blow of the hammer and stroke of the chisel as enough. The things that you do are enough. You cannot do everything. You cannot do everything. Right? But you can do something. And as you follow the promptings of your heart, what you bring to the beloved community will bring it more life and more possibility. In the Pirkei Avot, Jewish practical wisdom from the forefathers, we hear this: it is not incumbent upon you to finish the work, but neither are you free to abandon it. From a Unitarian Universalist perspective, it is not a question of whether an individual completes a particular task. We are instead a movement characterized and created by covenantal practice. Likely, most Unitarian Universalists would not abandon covenant in large, obvious ways, like returning a sweater at the store. I don't want this anymore. Abandonment of covenant might look a lot more like quiet attrition, like a car parked by the side of the road with a tag on it that says, in just a few days, it will be towed. It took Dashrat 22 years to carve the road into the mountain. You can imagine that there were days he didn't want to carve, that showing up seemed like too much to ask. In the face of those days, Dashrat carved into the mountain. And it is our practice together that keeps us in the work. James Luther Adams, one of our Unitarian Christian forebears, pointed out the incredible possibilities and responsibilities of church and religious community. The faith of a church or a nation is an adequate faith only when it inspires and enables people to give of their time and energy to shape the common life. This is part of the covenant we offer one another, to stay at the task, even if it seems enormous and the outcome seems uncertain. Allow your heart to inspire your work. If there are mountains in our way, let us go through them. So may we live.